Hey, it's Juck. We are not bemoaning the noon kickoff. We are now owning it. It's a badge of honor. We're the lunatic fringe that defines our coach's legacy when it comes to this game. They don't get to define that outside the family. We're cut from a different cloth for Ohioans. He's got it all, man. He's even got the jaw. You know the jaw. You see that jaw, and you're just like, yeah, man, that's a dude. Do I want Michigan to beat Oklahoma? No way in hell. I don't know what world I'm living in. This is insane to me. And if you saw my outburst, I apologize. It's showtime now. It is showtime. It is showtime. Welcome in. It is your friend Juck, and this is Buckeye Huddle primetime, fully interactive Ohio State show. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I don't feel like there is sufficient buzz right now going on with our defending champion Buckeyes, who are currently number one in the country. I think we need to ramp it up. I think that's going to happen at Ohio Stadium as the new shoe hosts the Ohio Bobcats this week. And I actually think that game is the perfect setup for the following game. Well, the following week is a bye, but the following week after that, Washington. We'll get into that. I just got done devouring the All-22 tape of the masterpiece against Grambling. That is a fun watch, man. Normally I would discuss this afterwards with some additional notes, but I think we all get it. It was perfect. I also want to hit on a few interesting things that Ryan Day had to say at the press conference yesterday. I think he brought up some questions were brought up to him, and he had a few interesting answers. I drove down from Akron to go check that out yesterday. Akron will come up in the show later on tonight, but get any chats in, any super chats you guys got, we'll get to those for sure, and I'll come and check on the comment section in between segments if you guys got anything to say. Welcome, Dr. Wilruss. You are actually on time, and so am I. Well, I'm 5 minutes late. But it was planned. It was planned that way. Anyway, in great news, we here at Buckeye Huddle have gotten to our goal of 30,000 subscribers. So appreciate you guys all for that. If you're not subscribed, it would be a great time to do so. I have been here for a month now, and I joined Buckeye Huddle because I wanted to contribute to the outfit that I thought was the absolute best at covering Ohio State football, from high school recruiting on scene to games to the NFL Combine. Buckeye Huddle has always done it all the press conferences, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. In fact, I talked to Tony. Tony and Tom are down there right now. You got Ross Fulton breaking down film. Tom Orris photography is the best. If you've never seen that on the Buckeye Huddle website, you can go to the Buckeye Huddle website for free and just click on the photo gallery. I mean, just list and list of unbelievable photos. Andrew Ellis, a contributor, and of course, Mark Givler, who, now that Bill Kurlick is retired, Mark Givler, now the don of Ohio State recruiting, 20 years on the gig. So I don't know what I bring, but I'm happy to be a part of it, and it's been a fun month. And you can come over to the site, read some of that stuff for free if you want to join that. I'm kind of a chat board junkie, like a message board guy. I'll go in and check on the Bama, the Texas board, see what other fan bases are thinking. I love that Buckeye Huddle board, and I'm on them all. That one's the best. So that would be a good move for you, and it obviously helps us out a bit. But let's get to the show. Sometimes I just got to riff, man. And I got to riff about Ohio State football right now because I don't feel the buzz like I feel there should be. And I want to talk about a few things, and I want to talk about Ryan Day and my expectations after 2 games, how they've changed. And I'd like to know about yours, because I talk to a lot of Ohio State fans 5 days a week. I am doing this. I'm reading all my comments. I don't think that I'm an optimist or a pessimist. I think I'm real, but I think everybody thinks they're real. Sometimes the excitement gets the best of me, but my opinions on this team have changed. And I spend my days talking to everybody all day long, nonstop, Twitter, read all my comments. And there were a lot of Ohio State fans this year who felt like Ohio State was going to fall back. They felt like this was going to be a 9-3 type of season. And what was even more puzzling is so many of them felt okay with that. I saw so many comments leading into this year, unlike last year. I feel like it's a fallback season. It's kind of a reboot season, and that's okay. 2026 will be a better year. And I blame Dave Biddle. I blame Dave Biddle for basking, and everybody basking and getting complacent and fat and happy like the 2015 Buckeyes. So I want to know now, through 2 games, now that you've seen Julian Sand and you've seen Matt Patricia in particular, man, that defense, we've seen a little bit of how they want to run it, and it's very, very different. We've seen them play an opponent of equal talent, which is rare in 2 games in. I think we can learn quite a bit from those 2 games. We've seen the offensive line against one of the best defensive lines they will face all year. And most importantly, we've seen Julian. We've seen him execute 2 very different game plans, just about as good as he could have. And if you were someone who thought maybe this was going to be the year that Ohio State was going to fall back, I want to know, do you still feel that way? Because there were a lot of you. How are those folks feeling now? My feelings have changed on this team. I thought Ohio State would be in the mix this year at some point for a semifinal spot, maybe get to the national championship. These playoffs are much different now. It's a grind, and I don't know that we're always going to see the best team win anymore, right? Like the Super Bowl, you don't always see the best team. College football, we used to always see usually the best team win. I think the best team won last year. Like Ohio State was the best team. Do we see that every year? It's going to be a lot of attrition. And I just didn't think Ohio State was going to be that caliber of team this year. But so far, based off of what we've seen, it feels to me like what we're looking at is peak Alabama. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like when you would tune in to watch Alabama starting off a new year during their peak, knowing that they just brought in a bunch of new dudes and a new quarterback, and you go to watch them play, and I would just get deflated. I would get deflated because it just looked like they got bigger and faster and stronger. And most importantly, the hallmark of any national championship team, they all looked incredibly prepared, more than their opponent. And that is what these Buckeyes look like right now. That's what they looked like in game 1. Ohio State's entire offseason was to prepare for that Texas game. And we know that. And we know damn sure that that was Texas' entire offseason as well. They were the ones trying to get revenge. They're the ones trying to get there. Ohio State was better prepared. They looked better. They were faster. And that is championship DNA. Rolling over the roster and things look better. We've got to see everybody else this year as well. And like that, even more so, boosts my confidence here. Miami and Oregon are the 2 teams outside of Ohio State who've looked the best so far. You got other contenders like LSU, who beats Clemson. Then Clemson's losing to Troy by 16 points at halftime. LSU beats a tomato can by like 15 points. And I don't trust Brian Kelly to win a national championship. Penn State, you could say the same about James Franklin, and they haven't looked great. Looking around college football, you beat Texas. Alabama, they tweeted that Bama's still Bama after beating an FSC or FCS team like 77-0. But I usually enter the season, and there's a couple of teams that I look at with a little bit of fear. And when I don't look around and have a little bit of fear, that's because the Buckeyes are that team, which is exactly how I felt last year. Oregon and Georgia, 2 teams that I was concerned about the most last year. And Oregon, who like Texas and like Ohio State, will be better next year. Their roster going to get older next year. Got a lot of guys returning. Oregon, Texas, Ohio State, all next year going to have better, more veteran rosters. And Oregon and Dan Lanning and them trying to get their revenge, that's right now the team I think that's the most concerning on Ohio State's hunt here to repeat. And I think that's going to become somewhat of a rivalry because they're just loaded. Like, they went and got 12 guys out of the transfer portal, same as Ohio State, same as Georgia, same as Texas. And that tells us that they didn't need a whole lot, despite losing as much as we all did. So they're right there with their roster. But I think my point is, I didn't think I would feel this way 2 weeks ago. I didn't think I would feel this great about this team, and I do, and it's awesome. And to be honest, I've recently come to the conclusion, and you could probably tell by the goofy grin on my face, man, I don't feel like at any point in my life you could take a picture and say today, right now, is the absolute best period of Ohio State football in my life. And I've been taking that picture since the Texas game. Right now, never in my life has the program been in better standing. Coming off a national championship, sitting as the number 1 program by mile. I feel like Ohio State, the definitive number 1 right now. Yeah, we've been in the same spot in 2015. We were sitting through 2 weeks being number one, sure. But it didn't feel like this. That team didn't feel like this. It got off to a herky-jerky start. This team feels different. It looks hungry. It looks polished. And for those of you who thought it was going to be a drop back season, I understand where those folks were coming from. There's a ton of volatility when you're bringing in a new quarterback, and he could flop. Flops happen. We see it all over the place. But I do got to say, I don't remember anybody else feeling this way about a 5-star number 1 overall quarterback going back. And I was just sitting here thinking, all right, what was the vibe when TP came in? Well, Todd Beckman was the starter after USC. TP's about to come in. Like, we were all hyped. Justin Fields, we saw him a little bit at Georgia, very, very little bit. Everybody was hyped. CJ Stroud, there was maybe not a ton of excitement, but I don't remember anybody thinking that we were going to have a drop back season. Everybody was stunned about the Oregon loss. Braxton, hell no, super hype. When you get a quarterback with that superstar kind of ranking, generally everybody feels really confident when that dude's about to start that it is going to be the dude. But a lot of people have been doubting that he's actually the dude. I think it swayed a lot of people's opinions on this team beforehand. And I think that maybe his stature had a lot to do with it. I don't know what else it could be. The guy's film shows a total dude, but he comes in, obviously looks great in the first 2 games. And I'm trying to remove myself from the fact that Ohio State just won the national championship when I look at this team. And it's very hard to do. I tried to do it before. I kind of thought, look, if Ohio State lost last year in the semifinals, why don't I look at it like that? Let's say they lost to Texas in the semifinals last year. How would I look at this team now? That's kind of the exercise I was doing heading into the year, because it was skewing my view that they had just won a championship. I can't do it. It's impossible. I don't know how it affects me, but it definitely affects the way I view it. And I just wasn't positive how good Julian was going to be. And of course, we still aren't. But right now, it looks really, really good. And what looks the best is it looks like there is ice running through his veins. Prepared, calm, decisive. These are all the things that first-time quarterbacks struggle with. This is where they get into trouble. And I'm excited to see him get put into that position. I hope that we get to see it Saturday. I want to see him get hit. I want to see him get some pressure and see how he bounces back. Because it feels to me like everything else is in place. If Julian can be the dude, championship DNA running through the program, and these guys are hungry, and that's clear. Hungrier than they were in 2015, trying to repeat. But again, I was trying to remove myself from that mentality. But they did win the national championship last year. It's really tough to do. I don't know what it adds internally. We've talked ad nauseum about they wanted them to remove the signs. They didn't do that. Yeah, you hear that, but a lot of that, whatever, that's talk. But when you look at this team, it really does feel like a really, really hungry team early on. Much different than it felt early on in 2015 to me. And I'll tell you one thing. Hartline and Patricia didn't concern me a bit, because Ryan Day, I think, has been the best hiring coach in the country for a couple of years now. When we look at him consecutively now, in my opinion, like last year, he had the best coaching staff in the country. He lost both of his coordinators. You could probably make that argument right now at this point in the season. He's got it again. After switching 2 coordinators and an offensive line coach, that's nuts. If Patricia and Hartline are both very good, we need to just take a step back and realize how rare this is, that a coach has to replace both coordinators and hit on both. Again, it just brings me back to Saban. Nobody else was doing stuff like that since him. Like, nobody's done this. And it looks like Ryan Day is doing it right now. And we can go down the list on the upgrades, right? Cornerback, yep. Safety, running back, tight end, offensive line, the jury's out. Linebacker, certainly. He's upgraded every position. Like, he's just hitting. We've never seen anything like it. We don't even have a whipping boy on this staff, right? Like, there's always a whipping boy. There's always a coach on the staff that Buckeye fans take that mentality and like when anything goes wrong, it's all, swords pointed at the whipping boy, right? We all know who it was last year. I guess you could say Larry Johnson is the closest thing that I've seen to that. We'll talk about Larry at the end of the show. There's something bothering me. But it's incredibly rare that there's not like one guy. Last night, the players held their now annual big vigil on campus where a bunch of players got baptized. And look, I don't care what you think about religion. Like, this is a good thing. It's a positive thing when you see players connecting on a different level like that. Like, that's unique. And I was wondering if that was going to continue when G and Trey left. And apparently it has, man. This is just a thing in the culture of the program. And the culture of the program is maybe the best part about it. They never get in trouble. They attract the best of the best people and families. It's just a picture perfect program in college football right now. And it's never been better. And Ryan Day, a head coach in college football through the most tumultuous time of our lives in college football. And he's orchestrated it as good or better than anybody else. I doubt there's too many coaches around actually at their job still that were there pre-NIL and transfer portal. We should probably go back and figure that out. But when it comes to all the different strategies and ways that these programs have had to adapt and do this, Ohio State's right at the top. And it takes a lot to be a guy and change your operation so much. And they've done it seamlessly. Oregon's done it well. Georgia's done it well. Georgia's got a tremendous advantage with talent in their backyard. Oregon's got a tremendous money advantage. Sark kind of came to Texas right at the beginning of it all. They obviously got a talent and money advantage. Ohio State has done it better than anybody when you consider the circumstances, really. Much to Ryan, Mark Pantoni, and his crew. Like, they've just been fantastic. And I think it's pretty damn great. It really is. So Ryan Day, when he was hired, I wanted a national coaching search. And I think that his hiring has actually changed my perspective on that moving forward. Like, at the time, I thought Ryan Day should be a candidate, but I also thought Matt Campbell should. Now, that looked really bad a couple years ago when I admitted that. It's looking better now. But it's like the best guy out there should be in there interviewing for the job, right? This is Ohio State. You shouldn't just be passing this off to a guy without doing a proper coaching search. That's how I felt about it. Now, if you told him he was a candidate, he'd been thrilled. He wasn't going anywhere. But they didn't even open it up. They didn't even open it up because they wanted him to know, like, right off the rip, you're the dude. Why? Because Urban said this is the guy. He said this is the guy. And it's no surprise that Urban wanted that to be his guy, right? He wanted him to follow on and carry on what he had built. New coaches come in and they rip everything out and install their new stuff. And Urban wanted to keep Ohio State the way he shaped it. It won a national championship. And Gene Smith was all in for it. So Ryan Day gets the job. That was 14 years ago, Urban took over this program. In the amount of stability at Ohio State, all the way back from the start of Tress, but there's a separation line there because I think Urban changed a lot. But Urban and Ryan, there's a lot of crossover here. It's a lot of the same things. I mean, they do things differently, but for the first 3 or 4 years, it kind of felt like chapter 2 of Urban Meyer's, tenure. It just felt very much Urban, and it's still a lot of Urban in it, right? You got Pantoni there, you got Mick there. They're like his two cornerstones of his program. They're still there. So there's a lot to the culture of Ohio State, and Ryan Day, like his predecessors, has just added on. And I don't know how much higher it can go, but the state of the program right now, strongest it's ever been. And as we look forward to when it comes to, like, all right, whenever he eventually decides to leave, I feel like I want to keep the hiring in the family. Like, this has worked out tremendously. I don't want Brian Kelly coming in, like, talking about Billy Napier this week. He was talking about, it takes time. He's got to reshape the program in his image. I'm like, this dude's on year 4. Could you imagine dealing with this? Could you imagine? And then you get it wrong and you start all over again. We saw it at Tennessee for 20 years. Like, imagine if Alabama, how much better off would they have been if Saban had somebody on that staff that they felt comfortable turning over the program to? And he had plenty of guys throughout his tenure, just apparently nobody on the staff before he left. But Ryan Day has totally changed my perspective on this. Whereas I would never have really wanted the in-house guy. I'd have wanted the big flashy hire or some dude from Ohio who was out here doing well and coaching in some area, NFL, whatever. That's where I always would have deferred. And it's been so unique to be so stable throughout this era, and that we have seen every coach from John Cooper to Tressel to Urban to now Day raise the program, pass off a better program than they received. It's really unique, man. So I'm all on this hype train. This team, I think, is better than 24 right now. And I think if Julian continues to grow like he has, like this is a program with championship DNA, and we're on the precipice of something really special here. I really think that this could be something really unique. The defense, it looks nastier, it looks faster, it looks meaner, it looks more confusing. It just looks better. You got dominant players at all three levels and an accomplice, right? Like you got a superstar at all three levels. Cade McDonald is now a superstar. This dude is going to be a first rounder. He's going to be a Ty Leak. I can no doubt about it. And Edric Houston could eventually grow into that. Kenyatta could be a top 3 round pick, most likely will be. Arvell Reese probably playing himself into a first-ish round pick this year. Sonny, top 3 round pick. Caleb and Jermaine Matthews, both locks to be first rounders. IGB, top 3 rounder. Like, this defense is nasty and loaded. The offensive line did a pretty good job against Texas. They're only going to get better as they gel. The pieces are all there. All the pieces are there. And how about the tight end difference? Ryan Day was talking about the tight ends at the press conference yesterday. Keenan Bailey's a dog, man. This dude's a dog. What he's assembled in the little culture, the mini culture they have in that tight end room, selflessness, toughness, grit. And I think Bo Jackson will be one of the first running backs off the board when he goes eventually. We got a long time from now to then. 2 number 1 receivers off the board. Like, this team is so loaded. These boys could go back to back, man. They really could. That said, nothing's perfect. And Ryan Day came out and talked about a red flag from the press conference. We'll get to that flag in a minute. Let's please like the show. And let me check a few comments from you guys here. Biggie, what's up, buddy? I just want to say what's up, everyone. I'm late today starting the video over. How you doing, pal? Richie Dubs never wavered on Coach Day. You'll never find a fire Ryan Day tweet in any of my socials. I deleted them all. That's what Zach said. No, Zach didn't say that. He's always thought he was elite. And think about the defense he inherited behind the 19 group. Yeah, that's true. Brandingo, absolutely agree, Juck. Ryan Day has made maybe 1 or 2 misstep hires, but he immediately corrected them. Ryan Day is like having the CEO who knows how to do every job in the factory. That's a good point, too. That's a good point. I was listening to somebody talk about Kirby, and I think he probably has this on Day, that he could go into every single position group and coach that position group. Kirby's a dog, man. Kirby's a dog. But when I look at the two of these guys, when we look at their programs, right now, I think the nod goes to Ohio State. You know, yeah, Kirby won 2 national championships in 21 and 22. 23 and 24. I mean, 23 was a good season. 24 down. I think they're on a decline. I think George is on a little bit of a decline here. Despite winning a weak SEC last year, I think they're declining. Hell, they could lose this weekend to Tennessee, and we could really start to see them slipping. The top of the SEC looks weak, man. It really does. It really does. But let's get to that press conference. So my good buddy Dylan was on with me last night, Dylan Davis of the Delaware Gazette over on Juck on Bucks. And this was our discourse about the question he asked Ryan Day yesterday.
You feel good about the poise and the comfortability that Julian shown early on. Like, hey, don't hurt your offense. Don't hurt a first-year starting quarterback by potentially making him start, at Husky Stadium in Washington in 2 weeks, first road start, and you didn't field a punt. So now he's starting inside of his 10-yard line instead of starting, at the 20.
Why All right, you don't need to hear my reaction. I got a little loud. But this is Ryan Day's answer when he asked him about the punt.
What you're seeing from Brandon back there, just comfortable with the weapon that it is or isn't right now in general.
Yeah, we that's an area coming out of the game that we've got to improve on for sure. I think we lost 47 hidden yards with the ball bouncing around on the ground. Now, a couple of them were very difficult because they weren't very well hit, but other ones I feel like we could have fielded. So it's not just one thing. Brandon's still going to return punts for us, but we also have, Jeremiah that we can put back there, Carnell, Caleb, if we need to. But we're going to stick to it, but we got to get better. There's no question that's something coming out of the game. That was a red flag that we got to get fixed.
Now, as I heap all this praise on that guy and what he's done with his program, is there anything to you more puzzling than the fact that we are now 7 years in to his career as the head coach at Ohio State? And it honestly predates him. Talked about the hidden yards, 47 hidden yards they lost. This seems like the most basic, easy thing ever. I mean, we had a coach for the longest time in Jim Tressel who tried to convince us special teams was a third of the game. And he treated it like that. And it used to kind of drive me nuts. All my coaches were like this growing up. They tried to pretend like this was this monumental thing. Really, the biggest thing about special teams is just don't screw it up. Just don't screw it up. And for some reason, we always screw it up. I will never understand it. If Ryan Day had a banging kicker, he could have 2 national championships, actually. But when we talk about punt returns, like I'm with Dylan, I've always felt this way. Like, why is it that you have this loaded roster and you can't just pick one dude and find the guy that excels at it and let him run with it? Like constantly with the rotating, I don't get it. You've gone from like wide receiver 4, wide receiver 1 over the years, a DB. It changes every week. It changes between games. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen that this guy who's conquered everything in college football can't seem to figure this out. I don't get it. And then last week, what do we see? Bryson Rodgers. Bryson Rodgers gets a BS call that was not a fair catch. The guys didn't let up. They just smacked him, right? Anyway, looks like he's shot out of a gun. He's got great hands. He's smooth. So he lists 5 guys, doesn't even bring up Bryson. I don't understand it. Innis, last year when he started with the punt return, it looked good. Looked like he had a little juice to it. Hasn't looked good this year. I just don't understand it. But I guess you can't have it all. And if you're going to, falter at one thing, I'd prefer it be this. Remember Parker Fleming? Like, matter of fact, that's his last bad hire, Parker Fleming, special teams coach, who he extended after a terrible year. He was certainly a whipping boy. He was one of the whipping boys. But I'll never understand for the life of me why they can't get this dialed in. With all the freak athletes you got on the roster and the dudes that would die for that spot. Like, look, I'd prefer the best guy at it to be back there. That's Caleb. I know that there's a lot of pushback with the bubble wrappers about that. And look, if the coach wants to bubble wrap Caleb, that's fine. I get it. I don't understand it when fans have that perspective. Like, we're just the fans. I want to root for the most dynamic guy to be back there. But honestly, I could go for just the guy with the best hands. Who do you think that is? I think Carnell now has the best hands on the team. I think he gets the hands award at this point. So put Carnell back there and field the punt. I don't know if you guys saw this. I didn't see it during the original broadcast, but that pass down the seam that Julian hit to him, like he was way behind him here, like contorted his body. That was another incredible catch, but the angle on the TV, I didn't even notice it. He's just making some incredible catches, man. His highlight reel at the end of this year is going to be incredible, but really behind him. Anyway, so this will be a big topic of conversation after the Ohio game, I'm sure. How much better do they do in the punt game? Who do they come out with? Did they stick with the same guy? Because really, there's not much you can critique on this team. Everything else is going perfectly. So that's how far down the list we are. Of course, the conversation about Bo Jackson has been the talk of the fan base all week in the media. Pretty interesting how much this fumble is being brought up about Bo Jackson when CJ Donaldson literally dropped a pitch right in his hands. It's like nobody even saw it. Everybody's talking about Bo. And Bo, who dropped a ball, didn't drop a ball, got a ball ripped out of his hands with a guy's entire body weight hanging on him with the ball, and then got falsely accused that he was stretching it out for the goal line. He absolutely was not. The dude made a hell of a play and stripped the ball. It happened. It does happen. CJ Donaldson straight up dropped it, right? Which is worse? You tell me. I don't know. But Ryan Day was asked about Bo. Now, Ryan Day, in his answer about Bo, gave a classic Ryan Day answer where, I'll let you hear it for yourself. I got it. Here's Bo's answer, or his answer about Bo.
I think he's getting better every day.
Ryan, how much stock do you put into what Bo did on Saturday, both the good and then that last play, the coaching message with ball security?
Yeah. Every play is an opportunity to get better. And I think that's what we're really trying to hammer home right now is that, you can't circle opponents on your schedule. You have to continually grow with the process. And, if you understand that, it's about us, it's about our training, it's not about the results. So what I mean by that is it's not about our opponent, it's not about the scoreboard. So, whatever you do in your training is going to ultimately reflect, how you respond in, really pressure environments. So we're going to coach these guys the best we can. I think sometimes it's difficult, when you're in a matchup that isn't even, which is what it was. And again, by the way, going back and watching the film on Grambling, I thought those guys played really hard. I had a lot of respect for them. I think they have a good year, but we all know that, it wasn't a matchup game. And so you try to do the best you can to recognize things that we got better at, but then the other things that maybe were masked because of, the situation. So there was definitely some good. I think it was great to get guys some film, get on.
Okay, you get the idea. That, my friend, is a Ryan Day classic right there. I don't know if he remembers the question. He sure didn't answer it. And I often wonder if after those guys throw out that question, what do they want to hear about? They want to hear about Bo. What's your take on Bo, dude? Everybody's talking about Bo. What did you think about Bo? What does it mean moving forward for Bo? He clearly doesn't want to answer the question, but I wondered always for years, I wonder if that guy is sitting there wondering, boy, if I'd have phrased that differently, could I have got him tripped up or made it, worded it in a way that he would have answered it? And now I'm sitting in the room wondering I was ready. I had my notes, I had my camera rolling, and he starts going on. And after the first minute, I thought he was about to start talking about Bo. No, nothing. We're not going to talk about Bo. Don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. When he was asked about Riley Pettijohn winning the defensive player of the game, he elaborated in depth on how, Riley's a freshman, usually doesn't go to a freshman, but what are we going to do? Say we can't give it to him because he's a freshman? No, we had to give it to him. And obviously you did. It was the right thing because he was a fantastic player and a player of the game. And he talked about him potentially playing himself into a bigger role, certainly on specials and maybe at linebacker, but pretty clear that he is that number 4 linebacker at this point after Sonny Arvell and Peyton. And that was somewhat in the air as to maybe Garrett Stover might be that number 4. But Riley has come in, jumped everybody. But shout out to our dude, TJ Alford, Juck Eye TJ. Man, when we talk about who can do that Arvell role when he's eventually gone, I think the eyes are set on TJ. And he looked doggone good doing it. Coming off the edge, he's up to 232 pounds right now. Riley's up over 230. These are a couple of freak freshmen. This class of 2025 is outrageous. It's the best since 2021, no doubt about it. It's just hit after hit after hit. The other day, I'm a recruiting guy. I love recruiting. I've loved it forever. The transfer portal's cool. It's not the same thing. And it'll never be the foundation of the program. It's there to upgrade talent where you can, patch holes where you need. And the amount of transfers Ohio State takes, I think, usually ends up being roughly right around the perfect amount to manage, not take too much risk, not affect your culture too much. It's 10 to 12, right? 10 to 12 guys, because you don't got enough time to get to know them. You don't got enough time to evaluate them. And Ohio State's been very lucky and very fortunate in the guys that they got, right? Last year, 2024 was the first time they really delved into, all right, we're going to get a class of, guys. And it really was just the way it worked out. They weren't seeking to do that. The Alabama kids came available. Yeah, you had to go get a quarterback. You were going to get a center anyway. You end up getting McLaughlin, luckily. And Will Kazmarek, that's like a throw-in tight end. We're going to grab him from Ohio. That wasn't somebody you were planning on building around. It just happened the way it happened, and everybody hit, right? Everybody hit. So I'm over here arguing my case for recruiting, and every time you miss out on a guy, I got 50 people telling me, you ever heard of the transfer portal? It's like, dude, it doesn't always work like that. It isn't always so easy. And then we look at this class: Max Clare, Ethan Onyanwa, Bo Atkinson, Logan George, Philip Daniels. The transfer portal is still very new, and the verdict is still out on just how often we're going to hit here, right? And this class is very different, where class number 1, which I consider 24 really like class number 1, you had a bunch of dudes from big schools come in and play pretty good. Now you got guys from, Purdue, North Carolina, Idaho State, Rice, in Minnesota. What have we seen so far? Logan George hasn't played yet, looked pretty good in the spring game. Max Clare has 2 catches. Things aren't, matter of fact, Ryan Day talked about Max Clare yesterday. Here's what he had to say about Max and him picking up things. Never mind. I don't have that loaded up. Basically, he said that Max Clare has had a really rough time. He had a rough time in practice getting used to the speed, the physicality at Ohio State. Obviously a big step up, a huge difference, something that you don't really take a ton into account when you got a guy who's been playing in the Big Ten. You assume, okay, like he's been playing Big Ten competition. Different, man. Now he's playing the best of the Big Ten every day at practice, and it's taken him some time. So 2 weeks in, he's got 2 catches. I think we all expected like him to come out and be a impact guy right away. The blocking struggled pretty bad against Texas. It was better against Grambling. I still expect we're going to see a lot out of him. How about Ethan Onyanwa? That guy was supposed to be your plug and play left tackle. All right, didn't work out there. How about your right tackle? Nope, not there either. He is your second string right guard. That's where he's at. So that's a big bummer right there, because that's a 1-year guy, your most expensive guy in the class. That money could have gone towards, a primo edge rusher. Not so much, man. So right there, that's not great. Bo Atkinson looked like he belonged against Texas. Made him 1 nice tackle, 1 really nice play. Not very athletic. He hustles. He's always hustling hard, like got long arms. I don't know that we're going to see a big impact from him, but you needed him. Logan George, I don't think he's going to end up being, any kind of stalwart, but he's nice to have in the class. It's Phil Daniels who stands out. Phil Daniels, man, here we go. Damon Wilson, edge rusher from Georgia. We could have got that. That might have been worth a roll of the dice. But Philip Daniels, again, this is not the guy you were expecting to be this massive hit. He is tremendous. He's got a switch. He's nasty. He's got the attitude. He's an Ohio boy. Philip Daniels, thank you. Like, that's the hit you needed right there. And everybody thought it was the other guy. But that's the point, man. Yeah, you don't know what you're getting with recruiting. But you're bringing in 20, 22, 24 of them. You're going to get just a couple guys that you really are counting on, like, immediately in the transfer portal. And it's risky business. It's risky business. So you never want to go in there needing someone. You want to go in there, I want to add this and add that. So no, every single recruiting miss cannot just be disregarded. You got the transfer portal. Like, it just doesn't work that way. Anyway, I also want to point out that Jelani Thurman played fantastic against Grambling. The blocking, the physicality he's blocking with, it's super big uptick. Dang, Juck got the AC down to 60 degrees. No, I just want to show off my new sweatshirt. But yeah, Jelani Thurman playing great, man. Playing great. Now, Ryan Day also talked about the pace of play. Last year, this was a thing for the Buckeyes to deliberately play with a very slow tempo. And the philosophy was, if you play less plays, right, and slow the game down, play less plays, both on offense and defense, then at the end of the year, you will have played cumulatively one less game worth of snaps, right? So one less game's worth of violent collisions. And the Buckeyes go on through the playoffs. They look really good doing it. They look fresh late. And now what have you got? Well, you can say you've got proof of concept because you did that and you won the national championship. My personal feelings, I can't stand it. I hate it. I just don't understand the logic. I think that if it takes you 45 plays to get up by 28 on your opponent, look, I'm talking like 6 games out of 12, Ohio State's going to win by that many points. So if it takes you to the middle of the fourth quarter in those 45 plays, or it takes you the beginning of the third quarter playing those 45 plays, the leftover chunk of the game is for your backups. And I want to see them play. And selfishly, I want to see faster action and more Ohio State football. So I can't stand the slow playing. Anyway, he was asked about the slow playing. Here's his answer.
You guys still planning on trying to lower the snap count throughout the year?
Well, I think each game we go in, I think when you look at the season, you have a philosophy, and then you go into the game and you have a philosophy. And I think what you're trying to do is figure out what gives you the best chance to win in that game. And then you have to take a step back and figure out, how does it fit into the overall plan of the season? So there's a lot to consider there.
What we have there is an absolute no answer. We're not answering on the philosophy of this year, which is interesting because last year he came right out and said, this is the philosophy. This is how we're going to do this year. This year, not going to come off the philosophy. Honestly, he's been real cagey the last couple of press conferences. He's not coming off much information as freely as he did last year. I don't know if that's deliberate, but last year was like a big breath of fresh air because he's always kind of been like that, not really coming off much info. Last year, he told us everything. It was wild. This year, I think he's kind of reverting back to the mean. So that's where we're at. Obviously, we got Ohio coming in this Saturday, the Bobcats, and it is going to be a night game under the lights at the shoe, 31-point line. Last week, 55-point favorites against Grambling. The Buckeyes cover. They covered against Texas as well. 2-0 on the line. Now, Ohio just beat West Virginia, and they only lost by 3 to Rutgers, put up 33 points on Rutgers, which is a lot of points. What can they do to the Ohio State defense? Their quarterback, Parker Navarro, last year, over 2,000 yards passing, 1,000 rushing. This year, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks so far. Against Rutgers, 9 carries for 93 yards, broke off a 28-yarder. West Virginia, he had 87 yards rushing. So this dude's a competent passer, and he's going to run the ball. So I think Ohio State going to play him like they played Arch Manning on those third downs. Not going to let him beat him with the wheels. They played 3 down linemen with Caden Curry at nose, and then they lined up Arvell 2 yards off the ball and just had him spy with the freedom to go if he wants. Like a lot of times you're going to be cautious with the spy, more reactionary, but Arvell had the green light. If he could shoot the gap and beat him, you better beat him, but go get him. And I love it, man. That's a Arvell feast roll right there. There's no way Parker Navarro is running on the Buckeyes like he did on those teams. No chance. But what it is a great preview for the following game against Washington, who has a quarterback in Damon Williams Jr. that honestly reminds you a little bit of Kyler Murray, just sudden, instant speed and quickness, and can also really throw and will throw it long and has a receiver out there. That offense looks like it can be dynamic, a pretty damn good offensive line as well. So that'll be a real test. And I think that playing against Ohio and Parker Navarro to kind of brush up on some things in that bye week is going to be very, very well served because that's a rough game. That's a rough place to play. it's Julian Saint's first big game in one of the loudest stadiums in the country, and a madhouse, man. That place can get wild. So I think it's a really good team. Ohio, a really good matchup to be playing right before that. Will Kazmarek gets to play his old team. And I got to say, man, Will Kazmarek, this guy, I didn't think a ton of him when the Bucks brought him in. He's really getting good. He is really standing out, as almost looks like if this guy put on some weight, he could be a left tackle. The blocking ability was a bit overhyped last year. This year, man, he made some blocks against Texas. It's just like, wow, that is like next level stuff. And he might have a long career in the NFL like this. Seriously. A little slow when he's out there running, but I did not give credit for how big of a man this is. When I saw him a couple of weeks ago, like, I was stunned by so much. It's just, some of these guys are listed at, I don't know, 6'5", 260, and you see him. Jelani, for instance. Jelani doesn't look like all that in person. Will Kazmarek looks enormous. They're listed like the same. So it's just odd how that works. Just the thickness and the broadness. He's just a massive dude. But good for him. So he always thought that he could come to Ohio State and play for a big-time program. And now he's here, and he certainly is, man. He certainly is. But winner aside of that Ohio State, Ohio game, the big-time winner is us, the fans, because the shoe, my buddy Dylan and I were just talking about yesterday, I really think that what they've done, you know, not everything hit, but the new changes, the microphones with the band, the speakers all around, pumping in the band all throughout. They're playing more music. And then, of course, we get the lights on Saturday night. If you've not been to the shoe yet and seen the lights, and you only would have if you were at the Tennessee game, you got to go, man. You got to go. It is a totally different shoe with these red lights everywhere. It is a cool environment. They'll do the drones again, I'm sure. And they did not have those perfected for the first trial run against Tennessee. They were actually doing the drone show during the flipping, like the game was going on. It wasn't halftime. The game's going on. And my wife's nudging me like, honey, look, what? Why are they doing a drone show right now? The game's going on. And some things were out of whack, but those lights, it's good for the environment. And the music has definitely picked things up. Obviously, not everything worked. Not everybody likes the victory bell to start off the game, whatever. I thought it was a really cool thing to start. I think it's even going to be cooler as we get to see the faces that they keep bringing in, right? You start with Archie, then you go to John Cooper. That's quite a drop down. Listen, I don't hate Coop anymore. Time has healed that wound, but I don't know, man. Whatever. He's 88. Cool. Let him have it. I'm excited to see the legends that they bring in there. What I don't want this to become is some stupid celebrity game where they go pick, this is a somewhat famous person that happens to be from Ohio. Let's bring him in to ring the bell. And we know he's not a Buckeye fan and just wants to latch on. That'll annoy me. So if they continue to pick someone that, you know, has given to the program that we all respect, that's what I hope that the route that they go there. I fear it might not go that direction at some point, but I like that. I think that victory bell is a really cool piece of a classic, beautiful stadium that I think there's a lot of Buckeye fans that don't even know about that bell. And now everybody will know about that bell. That is a cool idea. So I'm down with that. Brutus's entrance, my wife told me it was pretty cool. I totally missed it at the Texas game. Didn't even see. I was telling her I was waiting for it. She's like, you didn't see it? It was right there. So obviously that wasn't a big deal. I don't think they even put it on the scoreboard. The camp song, the anthem, has been a disaster. Emily, our girl Emily, is the only one who sang the song at the Grambling game. She stood up and she sang it with pride. We were proud of her for being a sport. She was definitely a sport about it. And, that's cool. Our man, Don, what's up, buddy? But the changes all in all, the music, less goofy, let's all stand and let's all recognize these two ladies at the Cupcake Factory because they did this and here's their advertisement. Like that stuff tons less of that, tons more energy. And this game against Ohio is going to be lit. Beautiful weather. If you guys haven't been there with the red lights, you've got to go. It's going to be awesome. Oh, wear your color. Now, listen, this is a good memo here, Emily. I've actually got a picture to show you guys. So unless you're sitting in the south stands, you got to wear gray to the game. Everybody's wearing gray except the people in the south stands have to wear their color, right? They're going to make the helmet stripe in the south. Everybody else is to wear gray. And if we pull this off, this is going to be totally awesome on TV. So you do the work, and those of us watching on TV are going to enjoy how it looks. That's the deal. Now, for that game, how do I get this picture off? Emily, how do I get this off? There we go. Okay. For that Ohio game, I decided over on the Juck on Bucks channel, we're going to stream for the primetime games. So the Buckeyes game and the other primetime games that are on, we're going to be live over there, hanging out, watching the game together. You're all free to join, of course. Not a private stream. Open to the public. My man Adam, what's up, buddy? Am I wrong? Julian Sane reminds me a lot of a better version of Joe Germain. I don't know, man. The physical comparison, Joey's a bit taller. Does got a lot of the accuracy, got a lot of the chill demeanor. Yeah, I could see it. But appreciate you, buddy. Yes, you are definitely a team player for singing that song that everybody else. Look, I really would raise your hands if you even know what we're doing here when we play this song, and that we are intending for this to be the anthem for the stadium, because nobody will know. Emily says people are complaining so hard about this helmet stripe thing. It's embarrassing to see. I promise you, those who are complaining about the helmet stripe are not the ones going to the game. They're not. I bet you dollars to donuts. Anybody who's complaining about that has nothing to do with it, isn't even going. That's just complaining to complain. Why would you possibly care what people wear to the game? If you don't like it, don't participate. How did I miss your super chat? I'm not even done yet, bro. Oh, Emily says, Juck, I love the sweatshirt. Oh, my man, Don. Hey, Juck, thanks for what you do. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I got to be honest, man. I saw that video and I wish I did not see that video. Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't give a damn what you believe. I hate the political atmosphere, and I am so glad that I am not into it, because it is just disgusting. But that is just horrible, man. So, yeah, I can't unsee it. And then I was an idiot. I sent it to my wife, and she starts crying. She didn't even have any idea who the guy is. I was like, why did I do that? I'm an idiot. So, Juck, looks like they chose students to ring the bell after the win, which is cool. People are trying to say that they don't have gray shirts. You know, dude. I've got way too many gray shirts. Way too many. I could donate to probably most of them. Anyway, guys. I think that's all I got for this evening's show, as we are rounding up to 43 and a half minutes. So let's see here. Friday morning, I think we're going to be doing a live show on Juck on Bucks at 10 in the morning. So a classic live show where we will be discussing the pregame, the picks, all that jazz. And then Saturday, obviously, we do the post-game show every week live over there. We also do the post-game show over here at Buckeye Huddle, and it goes on and on and on for like 2 hours plus. It's awesome. So you can join me. You can join Buckeye Huddle. You can join us both. I'm sure you guys will probably watch both of them. But Friday or Saturday during the game, don't forget, we'll be live streaming over at Juck on Bucks, so you can come watch that with us. Anyway, I appreciate you guys so much for joining us, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great night. Buckeye Huddle Primetime.